In a matter of seconds, the already majestic atmosphere transformed into a moment that would be talked about for days. Two figures appeared, walking slowly, quietly, yet enough to make the entire entertainment world stop breathing. The wedding of renowned Chinese actress Lin Yun and tech entrepreneur Chen Wei at the Four Seasons Hotel Shanghai had been predicted from the start to be one of the most spectacular events of the year. It wasn't just a wedding, but a gathering of elite figures from the worlds of entertainment, business, and culture on one stage. Since the afternoon, the red carpet had been filled with A-list celebrities. Every guest step was greeted by professional cameras, with live broadcasts allowing millions of fans to experience the glamorous atmosphere from afar. Luxurious gowns, perfectly tailored suits, and confident smiles were an inescapable sight. But beneath all the glamour, there was one moment that wasn't even included in the event schedule. It came without warning, without announcement, and that's precisely why it was so shocking. Just as the atmosphere was beginning to stabilize, the crowd at the end of the red carpet suddenly erupted. Whispers turned to screams. Cameras swiveled in unison. All eyes were fixed on one point, two figures walking together. Xukai and Tan Songyun. It wasn't just their presence that was surprising, but the way they appeared. There was no distance between them. There was none of the usual formality. They walked side by side, hands clasped tightly, as if the world around them was merely a blurry backdrop. In that instant, the atmosphere turned into controlled hysteria. Photographers scrambled for the best angle, while the live broadcast was immediately filled with comments. Fans watching from home couldn't contain their shock. The relationship between Xukai and Tan Songyun had always been the subject of speculation. The two had worked on the same project, displayed strong chemistry, but had never publicly confirmed their closeness. That was precisely what made this moment feel like an unspoken revelation. Their steps down the red carpet were slow, yet meaningful. Tan Songyun occasionally glanced over with a faint smile, while Xukai remained composed, maintaining his hand as if he didn't want to let go. No words were exchanged, but their body language spoke louder than any statement. In the entertainment world, steeped in image strategies, such spontaneous honesty felt rare. Some guests already inside were even seen returning to the entrance, trying to catch a glimpse of the moment that had gone viral before they even made it any further. On social media, hashtags related to the two immediately skyrocketed. Within minutes, the video of their arrival was widely shared, replayed, analyzed, and filled with speculation from various angles. Was this a relationship announcement? Or was it just a coincidence, too perfect to be taken for granted? The questions continued to swirl, without definitive answers. Meanwhile, Lin Yun and Chen Wei's wedding continued in a grand ballroom adorned with white flowers and sparkling crystal chandeliers. But even within the room, whispers about Xukai and Tan Songyun were unavoidable. Some guests smiled knowingly, as if they knew something the public didn't. Others appeared genuinely shocked, trying to comprehend what they had just witnessed. Ironically, at an event that should have focused on the couple, the attention was divided by this unplanned moment. But that was precisely what made the evening so vibrant and unforgettable. When Xukai and Tan Songyun finally entered the main area, they made no attempt to attract further attention. They quietly let go of each other's hands, returning to their roles as invited guests, as if the moment on the red carpet had been just a glimpse in a movie. But the public didn't see it that way. To fans, the handshake was symbolic, a gesture long awaited, even if never promised. Something simple, yet fraught with meaning. Outside the building, the crowd was still discussing what had just happened. Online, discussions raged, theories emerged, and expectations began to build. That night, Lin Yun and Chen Wei's wedding remained a grand celebration of love. But without a doubt, the appearance of Xukai and Tan Songyun added another layer to the story, one that may be unfinished, and precisely because of that, it felt even more compelling to follow. But the story didn't end when the ballroom doors closed. Inside, amidst the clinking of crystal glasses and the soft music, the atmosphere felt slightly different, as if everyone was carrying the same secret on their minds. Several guest cameras, discreetly recording the scene, began to capture small interactions that didn't go unnoticed. A glance, a brief smile, and the re-established distance between Kai and Tan Songyun only fueled curiosity. Were they deliberately maintaining boundaries? Or were they trying to hide something that was already all too obvious? At the VIP guest table, several public figures were seen whispering to each other, occasionally glancing in their direction. Their expressions varied. Some were amused, some surprised, and still others seemed to have long known this dynamic. Meanwhile, Tan Songyun was seen chatting with several fellow actresses, laughing lightly, but occasionally her eyes seemed to search for something across the room. And there, Xukai stood with a group of actors, remaining quiet, but not entirely out of sight. The most striking moment came when the two accidentally, or perhaps not entirely coincidentally, met again near the drinks area. There was no touching this time, just a brief exchange punctuated by warm smiles, but it was enough to bring the attention of several pairs of eyes around them back to their senses. Even without holding hands, the energy between them was palpable, something that couldn't be described simply as friends. There was comfort, there was familiarity, and layers of emotion that seemed to have formed long before that night. On the way home, many guests were still discussing the moment in their cars, rehashing the details as if afraid of forgetting something important. Some were convinced it was a silent confession. Others chose to believe it was all just a coincidence exaggerated by the public spotlight. Meanwhile, fans continued to wait, waiting for clarification, for a statement, or at least for a new clue. But the silence from Kai and Tan Songyun made things feel even more intense, as if they were deliberately keeping the world guessing without providing a definitive answer. And perhaps therein lay the allure. Amidst the glitz and glamour of the entertainment industry, a moment like this felt surreal, wild, and unpredictable, a story unfinished, and precisely because of that, everyone wanted to stay tuned until the next chapter unfolded. Meanwhile, the media team stationed outside the building continued to receive a surge in data. Clips of their arrival were trending across platforms, racking up millions of views in a short time. Comments poured in, building an increasingly wild narrative. Some fans began to piece together evidence from the past, old photos, interviews, and even small behind-the-scenes interactions that were once taken for granted now seemed like puzzle pieces that began to form a bigger picture. The night ultimately ended like all big events, with congratulations, group photos, and guests slowly leaving. But for many, the real story was just beginning, leaving lingering questions and unanswered curiosity.